welcome to the podcast Dark Side of the Moon. I'm Bella Silva Casillas, and I'm a psychic medium.
And I'm Nancy, and I'm the paranormal researcher / her cousin.
I like how you say that. Slash your cousin. How many slashes you gonna put that? Because I can do it too. I'm a psychic medium / wife / business owner /
Well, I don't have the psychic medium fancy title.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll make one up for you.
Say hi. I'm Nancy, and I'm master manifestor.
The master of manifesting / her cousin.
I do pretty well on the manifesting. Me too.
There you go. All right, welcome to this episode of the Dark Side of the Moon, like I said before. And this episode, we're going to look at the Simpson predictions.
Yes.
Basically, the psychic Simpsons.
Basically, honestly, it's actually very interesting how much they have been able to like predict over the last, because Simpsons started in 1987 through the Tracy Ullman show, and then ended up with their own show. I want to say probably 1988. Like I was like 10 years old when they started.
Yeah, they went on for
Art is still 10, and I'm 46.
And what's her name? Maggie's still the baby, so
yeah, it is.
She's an eternal child.
So yeah, there's a.
So you did a research on this one, so you're the lead researcher. So go take it away.
Yep. And so it's been since like 1987. They've been predicting since then, and there's no way it's a coincidence. There's just too many predictions that are so exact.
Yeah.
That there's no way. There's no, almost as if there's a psychic on board or something, right? Yeah. And the writing team.
Yeah.
So we'll go with the first one I found. It's in season 5, episode 10, which is approximately 1993. Right? They have an episode with Siegfried and Roy. They're the famous like lion and tiger tamers. Right? I don't know if you're familiar with Siegfried and Roy.
Yes, I am.
So in this episode,
not personally, but I know who they are.
In this episode, Roy was attacked by the white tiger.
Yes,
completely attacked. Then in 2003, so fast forward 20 years later, Roy was attacked by his tiger, severely bitten, which caused permanent nerve damage and tissue damage.
I actually remember watching that episode, not of the episode of The Simpsons where the tiger attacked him. Yeah, I remember watching. I used to watch The Simpsons all the time.
Yeah, and what was the thing behind it? They don't think the tiger was actually trying to attack Roy.
Well, I had seen, actually it was Roy that actually, or one of the other, Roy Sigmund, I think, was the one who talked about it, and he said that was very common for when a cat senses danger, which I think Roy tripped. There was something that happened on the big show. I think Roy tripped or something, like startled the tiger.
Something startled
to think that the Roy was in danger, and what he did was, when the cat picks up their child from the scruff of the neck, he was trying to get Roy to actual safety, except that he didn't realize that Roy is not a tiger.
That backfired.
Yeah, that backfired on the tiger, unfortunately, because I think the tiger was put down.
I think legally they have to.
Yeah, I think they put him down, and then didn't Roy die not too long after that? Because I don't think
he was ever the same again, because he had severe nerve damage.
Yeah,
and tissue damage, but I don't think he died as a result of it. I think he died on. Sorry, I did not look into.
You didn't look into that part of it?
No. Well, that wasn't really pertaining to the Simpsons.
Well, let me see if I can try and bring him in. No, okay.
Right? Oh my god, that's a whole other show.
Yes.
But I mean, this one, I guess you could maybe, because a coincidence, because I mean they were lion and tiger tamers. I guess it's not too
far fetched that a lion would turn on them.
Yeah, it's not too far fetched that a tiger may turn on them, right? But still, it's pretty exact. It was one of his white tigers, and
yeah, but the way they did it, it was like, I think on the cartoon it showed that he was attacked during a show.
Yeah, it was very similar.
So it was very similar. It was. Yeah,
but
I mean, him being attacked is okay, but the fact that they did it during the show, not like when you were feeding him or doing.
Oh no, it was pretty similar. But I mean, out of all the other ones I have, I guess this one you could
explain it away.
Technically,
you can explain everything. Really?
Okay. So number 2, again, you probably could explain it away a little bit, but season 10, episode 5. So it's approximately 1998. And there's an episode where Disney buys Fox Entertainment. which because that's where Simpsons were on Fox, and Disney buys it. Well, then you fast forward to 2017, and Disney does buy Fox Entertainment Division for the approximate value of $52.4 billion.
Wow.
That's expensive. Disney got some bank.
That mouse.
That mouse making some.
That mouse has been making some bank. Some cheddar. Please, cheddar. They all say cheddar's better.
Oh, everything's better with cheddar.
Yeah.
And bacon. But that's a different
that's a different podcast. That's the paranormal food podcast.
Exactly. So yeah, so there's that one. So that's an interesting twist because I mean, where do you get all of a sudden Disney, two different entities, all of a sudden Disney wants to buy Fox? Yeah, unless Disney was watching it back in 98.
Yeah. Hey, sounds like a good idea. It's almost like $1 million.
I don't know about that.
So
yeah, number three is the one that's still to this day I still say to myself, really, this guy. Number 3 is season 11, episode 17, 1990, approximately 1999. Trump becomes president of the US. It's insane. I still, to this day, I still can't believe that Trump eventually in 2016 did become president of the USA. And they even make a joke on this one episode because I believe Lisa is his successor.
Yeah.
And then she once he leaves and makes a joke that he left the country in debt. And it's pretty much
exactly almost
isn't it known that he kind of leaves all of his businesses?
All of his businesses usually go with bankruptcy or something like that.
But this one is so like you were when we were talking about it the other day.
It's very very
this one's very specific because it even has a scene of him coming down the escalator.
Yeah, with Melania. It's Melania, right? His wife?
I think that's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming down behind all these people with the signs to the Trump signs, and it actually had that and like that actually happened.
Yeah.
Him coming down the escalator.
That's so like is it a psychic or is it like you were saying once before that it might be
I think it's more of time traveling because psychic, there is no psychic in the world that, and I've met and spoken to a lot of really good psychics. There's no psychic in the world that you can actually get that detailed of
that specific as if you're drawing like
and like it's almost like it's almost like a photographic thing. There's nobody that is gifted, and if there is, I've never met them, and if they are, then they're employed by Simpsons. So maybe if you have a bunch of psychics that get together and you kind of all have your own little pieces going, but like a coven of psychics,
and then you could draw
and you could draw it. Picture. But even then, it's still like you still wouldn't get that much. Like I don't know, maybe
it was quite detailed,
but you would have to have like someone it would be probably maybe about 3 or 4. I shouldn't say you couldn't do it if you had quite a bit, like that would have to be almost the whole team, like they would each have their own part and like we'll put this in.
I would assume all the writers are psychics. That's the only way that could work.
I wouldn't assume that the writers were psychic. I would assume one of them is probably a time traveler and they're bringing back the information and everybody just kind of going on board.
Goes along with it.
So like, either one is like a time traveler and the other one's a psychic and they're like, oh, this is what we're going to do.
And they're like, oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So, or someone gets really great premonitions.
Well, this writer will never get fired. Because clearly he's bringing in the...
Well, if all of their ideas are coming to fruition, then yeah. So but I've heard that a few times that there's got to be a time traveler. That's the theory I've always heard, that there was a time traveler on their writing team. It's the only way that you can get that stuff.
I've heard psychics on the writing team, but then again, yeah, you're right. You'd have to be that's like some.
I know myself, my accuracy and some of the readings that I've done is actually pretty good. Like if I don't say myself, and it's actually pretty good. But I'm the first to say that this is not the way it actually happens. It happens similar to this.
Right.
And that's just because of the way the way a psychic reads, the way I receive messages, they're going to pull information that I already know. And I know already that it's not exactly the same way. So it's very, very similar.
Right.
Right. Whereas this is too accurate. It's got to be someone that travels time.
That is crazy to even
think about that.
Yeah, really.
I know. I've just started actually doing research on time traveling and how it happens and jumping dimensions and things like that. So it's
That could be a
actually
future episode.
yeah, it's actually not that once you get into it and start to see the science, it's actually not that
Hard to believe.
hard to believe.
Oh, I've always wanted to like astral project.
Well, I mean, I talk to dead people.
That's true. Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna be hard for me to believe about time traveling?
That's true. And yeah, that's true. I just wouldn't want anything to happen when you time travel someplace. Somehow you get caught into it, then you end up dying.
No, because that's not how it works.
More like remote viewing.
No, it's not how remote viewing. It's not remote viewing. Remote viewing is different. But the time traveling, you actually can travel time.
But
So-
you're not actually physically in there. You're just kind of watching.
No, you are physically there
okay.
because you take the. That's going to be a completely different
Yeah, I
thing.
think that should be a
But
show.
you know, technically, we're all in different dimensions, so there could be another Bella and Nancy in another dimension doing something similar to this in a different way.
True.
So, and that's one of the one of the things. There's different types of dimensions.
Yeah.
So,
if anybody can equate it, if everybody watches The Flash, you can kind of equate to that because they have like different worlds where it's the same people,
yeah,
they live different lives.
yeah, it's the same thing.
And
It's almost like it would be like you could take some of the Matrix too in there, so it's similar to that as well. When you're in the Matrix and when you're out of the Matrix, it's kind of like that same thing too. So yeah, so that is going to be in a completely different.
Yeah, since you're doing
thing.
some time traveling research, you
Yeah,
need to do that one.
So I'll do
Write
that
that
one.
down.
Noted.
All right. So
All right.
the next one
next
is season 20, episode 4, approximately 2008. Faulty voting machines. There's actually there was actually an episode where Homer's trying to vote for, I think it was Obama, and it keeps going to Mitt Romney. Is what right? And then fast forward to 2012, so the very next election.
Yeah.
The touchscreen machine did faulty the same way.
Yeah.
And it would pick Obama, it would pick Mitt Romney instead of Obama.
Was it in Florida though? Most of those machines that were faulty were in Florida.
I believe they were. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So was Florida.
Florida or Texas?
There's a 3 because I remember seeing a
It's
meme.
like a trifecta of the...
Remember seeing a meme and it was like it's always you 3 and it was from the Harry Potter where it was like it's always you 3, but this time it was like Florida, Texas, and one other state. I can't remember what the other state is. And it was like it's always you 3.
California, maybe?
I don't know, but it just made sense because whenever there's something going on, it always seems to be.
But again, that one you can't really explain as coincidence because it literally happened the next election. Who would have thought the voting machines will be faulty? And it's the same mistake.
Yeah,
you're picking the Democrat that's choosing the Republican.
Well, maybe they didn't make that big of a deal of it. Maybe it was always happening and they put it on the Simpsons. I mean, to explain it away, it could have been happening in one of the states, but we didn't know about it. The public didn't really know about it until Obama came to office, until it was time to vote for Obama, and all the machines were really doing it, and then that's when they really started bringing it to light. So I mean that could be explained that way, but then if it wasn't happening,
it's too coincidental.
Yeah, it's too coincidental.
Yeah,
and I don't believe in coincidences.
No, things happen for us.
Yeah.
So then the next one is 1993 season 5 episode 19. It's the rise of like video chat. You actually see an episode where Lisa is using like a video phone to chat with her mother Marge. And there's also another episode where you see somebody using like a smartwatch. Like you can tell it's a smartwatch because they're talking to their watch and they're looking at it. So that's very interesting. And I know other episodes.
When did the Apple phone or the smartphone come out?
Oh, that's in the 2000s. Like this is the early 90s.
Yeah.
We didn't have video chats. Not like this where you could have like.
I mean, Star Trek had that. Maybe they took that from there.
And that reminds you of I'm assuming that's for the flip phone kind of.
Yeah, because it's almost like you see the progression because it was like the Jetsons, Star Trek, and then so that I mean, was it really like a future thing, or could have been just like they saw those things and they're like, we're gonna make it.
But still, the smartphone was pretty specific because you can see it. You can actually see with all the buttons and all like a smartphone.
Yeah.
Video chatting, I mean, because the rich people had it, I think, like in the 80s and things like that.
Yeah, we
But,
just saw the progression of it because I mean, I remember watching the Jetsons as a kid and was like, that is so cool if they ever do that.
yeah, and I'm sure that's what prompted
Prompted,
technology
yeah,
that makes some of
to make
like,
it, yeah.
make that stuff. So the next one we have is it's season 2, episode 9, so around 1990, censoring Michelangelo's David. Right? So it's an episode where Marge learns a hard lesson about censorship. It's a slippery slope, right? Once you start censoring one thing,
You start censoring
censoring
everything.
everything.
Where do you stop?
Yeah, exactly. It leads to Springfield residents calling for the censorship of Michelangelo's David. And if nobody knows who that is,
It's the real statue with a
really tiny penis. I don't even think you have to censor it. There's nothing. What is there to censor? I could cover it with my thumb.
I know his bush was bigger than his baby.
Right.
Poor David was all bush.
Pretty sure I covered up with my thumb. My thumb with right.
He was all bush.
So it's a pretty classic piece.
Yeah.
Most people should know what it is.
It was pretty unimpressive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah,
wasn't it supposed to be the embodiment of the male form?
Of the perfect male.
Yeah, but thank God that's not the perfect male. There's something missing, Michelangelo.
It was quite tiny. Yes, it was quite tiny.
I mean, who used to model that?
A small child. I mean, you don't need a lot, but
I mean, he has. You need at least 6 inches.
Okay, I don't know about that. But let's give David, yeah, let's give David the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's a grower, not a shower. Right?
Maybe it's all hidden in the bush.
Wait, we'll go with the grower, not a shower. So anyway,
right? Maybe it's hidden in the bush, and when David gets excited, it just busts out.
It just busts out of the bush.
It just busts out of the bush.
Oh yeah, in this episode, they hilariously covered up Michelangelo, David, sorry, David, with a pair of jeans. Which you'll see the photo on here, but yeah, they actually
Were
covered
they
up.
Jordache?
Oh, I don't know, Jordache jeans, probably some Levi's. Probably the tight, like Levi's, you know, the ones that wouldn't even bend.
Oh, I know. You had to
Like, yeah. Be laying on the bed trying to like put them up.
Trying to put them up.
So yeah, but yeah, so that was it. So getting off topic.
I forgot what we were talking about.
The Simpsons. So this is 1990.
Yes.
So fast forward to 2016, a copy of the statue, of Statue of David is on display in St. Petersburg, Russia. Sparked oh, I'm sorry, not Russia, St. Petersburg, Florida.
What?
I automatically saw St. Petersburg. I think
automatically Russia.
I think Russia.
I'm like Red Square.
Well, because that would have made more sense with the censoring, but no, Florida, that makes sense.
Oh, Florida again. You three.
So sparked controversy and prompted a vote from citizens who wanted it covered up or removed. And then that's what happened. This school in Florida's decision to deem the statue as too revealing. So there was also
there's so much more going wrong in Florida
than this. So that's it. Florida wanted it covered up and like removed. Italy, who has the Statue of David, extended invitation to one of the principals of the schools in Florida to
go look at the original.
Look at the original
because they're like, it's no big deal.
It really is.
It really isn't. No big deal.
It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting one though.
Yeah, it is an interesting
Honestly.
one.
That Simpsons could just pull that out of their
yeah, they put jeans on it. Yeah.
And put jeans on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a fig leaf. Jeans. So the next one is season 11, episode 5, 1999. It's called Real Tobacco Plants. Right? it was an episode where
This is the best.
I think it was Homer had like bought a farm. There was a nuclear plant nearby, and there was a
doesn't he work at the nuclear plant?
He does, but there was a tobacco plant, and somehow the tobacco and the tomato somehow merged and caused the tobacco. And then people were eating it and becoming addicted to the point where like he was selling on it completely.
Tobacco.
He couldn't keep up.
He couldn't keep up with the demand for the tomatoes.
It was just tobacco. Yeah, it was tobacco. And
now listen, if that was in Canada, people would be eating tomatoes and Tim Hortons.
Ooh.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Tim Hortons and Tobaccos. TNT.
TNT. Yeah, that's explosive. Yeah, people were getting like in the show, people were got addicted to it and they were like, it was in demand. But then in real life counterparts emerged after Fukushima nuclear power plant where deformed vegetables and fruit started popping up and looked unsettling similar to Homer's creation. But thankfully, nobody's actually tried to sell these gross mutations.
Oh my God. I was going to say, did they actually try them or eat them or no?
I don't think so.
No tobacco.
There's no written on that. But could you? I don't know. You start to think about logically of like nuclear power plants and things. Should they be even near vegetation?
They shouldn't.
What are we consuming?
Oh God, that's like a question. That's a whole other podcast. Where do we consume?
But I think it's when the nuclear power plant like blew up, which is also another problem.
Which is that's a whole other issue. I mean, I'd much rather consume a tobacco than have it blow up.
Tobacco. What would that even taste? I don't even like that.
Well, apparently in the episode, people are getting addicted to them. It can't be that bad
because it's tobacco.
Yes, but it can't taste that bad.
Did you like your first cigarette? Nobody likes their first cigarette.
But this is tomato flavored cigarette.
Right. Once you get a taste of it, what's the idea? It's
like Mentos. You can't choose that one.
The 3-day hump of smoking.
Who the hell eats tomatoes for 3 days?
Once you get over the 3-day hump, you're good. You can keep smoking. I don't know.
I'm not a smoker.
I know. I haven't smoked in years.
I'm not a smoker. I never smoked, so I don't know about the humping of the 3 days.
So the next one is season 5, episode 15. It's in 1994. It shows Richard, or specifically Richard Branson, of Virgin Atlantic. He's a billionaire, going into space travel. And we all know that as the years progressed, he's gone into space. Jeff Bezos from Amazon has gone into space. And Elon Musk. They've all like spent millions upon millions of dollars, not even to go into space. It's literally, I think, to go around orbit. I don't consider it space until you're actually on some kind of.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing in space? Like, are you looking for other
life forms?
Life forms? Are you there to communicate with things, or are you just there to see stuff? Like,
I think they were just there to see stuff.
That's an expensive trip.
Right. Like, how about feeding the hungry? How about like building some schools for underprivileged children, or
how about helping people with the fire victims, or people that have lost their homes, and like there's so much more to do.
Exactly. I understand they're billionaires and can buy what they want, and you can, but I don't know, just seem way.
But the reason you made your billions were from working class people, and then
who buy your products.
So there's nothing wrong with.
I buy off Amazon all the time, but I'll never afford Tesla.
I buy from that I want to buy a Tesla.
And Richard Branson, actually, isn't your phone? Aren't you?
Yeah, I know. I was like, come on, Branson, show the love.
Right? Where's my $30 phone plan?
Exactly. Or how about even like just a trip to your freaking island?
Right. Oh, that's right. He does have his own private island.
Yeah, he has his private island. I've never been invited.
Exactly. And you give him money every month.
Every month I give him money. Religiously.
But yeah, it is very telling that it was actually Richard Branson going into
the fact that they picked Richard Branson. They could have picked anybody and they picked him.
Any rich person. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I mean Richard Branson isn't even the richest in the world.
No, I don't think he is.
No.
You would have thought they would have, if anything, they would have picked Microsoft.
Yeah, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates. Which I think they've had him on other episodes of stuff.
I think they have too, yeah.
But yeah, they would have picked him.
So then we got season 16, episode 6, approximately 2005. It was called Legal Reeferino in Canada, which always reminds me of Ned, because Ned, Homer's neighbor Ned.
Yeah.
He always has the little cool Enos at the end of whatever he says. But you actually see them like going into Canada, and Ned looks horrified that marijuana is legal. And then fast forward to 2018, Canada did
legalize
make marijuana legal.
Yeah.
Every time I see like marijuana being legal, it always brings me back to the Super Bowl the one year where Denver and Seattle the two cities had made marijuana legal that year. And they just happened to be the two teams that won, that were fighting going for the Super Bowl. And I always thought that was funny. I was like, oh my God, it's like the reefer bowl. That was like the running joke that year.
There's like people were baking brownies
Yeah,
and
so this one was
laid on me.
it was season 4, episode 21, approximately 1992.
Okay.
See if this sounds rings any bells for
Okay.
anybody. A pandemic takes over the world. Ring any bells?
Vaguely.
Sounds for vaguely
Yeah,
familiar, doesn't it?
vaguely.
So okay, there's a lot to unpack with this one. So it's 1990. It's it was it was called Marge in Chains. So has become infamous for and has having many similarities to 2020, right? To the 2020
Yeah.
pandemic. In this episode, a viral outbreak from Japan, ours was from China, but still an Asian country,
Yeah.
from Japan, called the Osaka flu. And ours was always like people used to say it's just the flu, right?
Yeah.
Makes its way to Springfield. Once there, the town spirals into chaos.
Kind of.
Dr. Hibbert, which is like the doctor there,
Fauci.
Dr. Fauci,
Yeah.
tells everyone there's no cure, and everything and anything he'll give them would be a placebo, because the flu is a viral infection, so antibiotics don't work on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's just so crazy to me. And
Sounds so familiar.
doesn't it? And despite the townspeople's beg for a placebo, somebody from this is where it gets crazy. This is where it gets crazy. Somebody from the crowd finds a crate of killer bees and then eats one, hoping for a cure. First of all, if you remember, after Jumanji level 4 with with the coronavirus, we had Jumanji level 5 with the murder
killer
hornets.
So
That's the scariest one. Out of all of them, that was the one that really got me. I was like, wow.
yeah, that one really can't be explained away.
No, not
Very-
really. Yeah,
very-
it's very
So
It's very
I
random.
go with the theory that there's a time traveler on that actual like
yeah,
whatever
now
scene.
you start to read more and more. I mean,
Yeah,
it does
just
make
because
sense.
it's so some of the things are just too specific. Too
It's the
specific
specifics,
to
right.
be anything else. So let us know in the comments if you agree. If they're time travelers, or if you know of something different.
Or if
or-
you know of other Simpson episodes that I haven't mentioned here, like one of your favorites that
Yeah.
pop up that you're thinking, oh yeah, this also happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
So-
it for the Simpsons predictions. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, if you have your own favorite episode that has a prediction,
Let
leave
us
the
know in the
comments.
comments.